Okay, beginning with the exploded view, now we're going to change again. So we're going to do a new drawing, and we're going to say from animation because that's kind of where we're at right now. So this is storyboard 1, and we're going to do from scratch, and B-sides actually works for me. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So that's going to open up that drawing sheet. Give it a second. Still thinking. All right. And so then I have the ability to change the scale. So let's just say, let's do it by half. Actually, that doesn't seem too much. So let's go with, let's go back to 1:1. That's just a little too big. What should I do? All right, let's split the difference and we'll just go 3/4. We'll go 3/4. All right, that kind of works out. All right, so we're gonna leave that guy and go ahead and leave it there. We have the ability to change it. We can change it to different models. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and hit OK. That kind of gets us in the right space. Then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and create a base view. So that gives me that front. Scale's a little bit wonky. We're gonna change it to 1:1. Let's do the same thing, 3/4. Hit 3/4. You can go ahead and insert it here. Hit OK. And then I can go ahead and create those additional base views or projected views. Something like that. All right. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind is that if we would have a full set of prints, so we would have individual drawings for each of the components. So that's not a requirement at this stage. We just need to show what are the important measurements due to the assembly. So for example, if I was going to do dimensions, I would be curious about, let me zoom in here, from here to there, and then just from straight up. So that gives me an idea about how far that is over. And also in the same vein, we could look at from here to show how far that piece is over from the side. So we don't need to mention everything. For example, this arch here, don't need to do it because that would be on your original drawing. Okay, so I went ahead and cleaned up some of the pieces, or cleaned up like locations, make it look a little more presentable. Now I want to look at adding that parts list. So I'm going to go to table. I'm going to do parts list. I'm going to check off my piece here. All right, so I picked my exploded assembly. So now I can draw it here and drop it in. Let's see here. So I got tall block, small triangle, arch. Now that's interesting. So when I created this thing, I did not modify what that material was. So it's still showing it as steel, when in fact it should show as pine. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple more things. I'm going to go ahead and move this guy over. The balloons are automatically populated in reference to the drawings down here. Okay, so now to edit this table, if I click and see where it's highlighted, this is a little tricky. So if I'm just here and double clicking, it's not going to work. If I have my mouse where you can see the outlines of the words, if I double click here, then it's going to give me these options here. Now, I have some options I can do. In this case, the table direction's up, which means that the descriptor is at the bottom. If I change that to down, it's going to change it to where item, quantity, part number, that's now at the top. Now, we see the descriptions filled out. I want to go ahead and click off of that, and it's going to eliminate it since it's not part of it. Yeah. So that's going to get our parts list. So I can go ahead and close that, and that updates that. Now, I messed up and called it steel. I'd like to see pine or similar wooden material in your original drawing to correct that. Okay, let's do some balloon maintenance. So see how this number 2 is just going over? We're going to go ahead and I'm just going to hit delete and take that out of there. And we're going to add some manual balloon back ends. But you can have the ability, like you always want to be pointing to the edge of the part, but you have the ability to kind of move the balloons around. These are handles, so you could, kind of modify them to whatever aesthetic you kind of want to do. But we went ahead and deleted that balloon number 2. So I'm going to go back up here to the table and I want to add let's see here, a standard balloon. I want to select the edge of the component. So this is this guy. Then I'm going to place this balloon, and then that puts it to number 2. So number 2 is the small triangle. Number 1 is the arch, and then number 3 is the tall block. So those are now reflected accurately. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and add in a text, and this is going to be for the notes. And so I can just click, make that a specific direction, and then I can type in the words that I want. So in engineering drawing, it's going to be all caps. So all tolerances, and we want to do that plus minus. So what we can do here is we can add a symbol in. All tolerances. Keep that off. Add a symbol. Add a symbol. Plus or minus. And that's going to be 0.01. Again, all caps. Inches. Hit enter, and then we can say parts. Parts adhered with wood glue. Okay, then I can modify, I can change the font, I can increase the height, make it bigger. That's way too big. So somewhere between the two, let's say 0.2. Okay. Let's do 0.18. Looks good. All right, so we can go ahead and hit close. And then what I can do is I can move around that note to be right here. And okay, so that wraps up this particular video. And so you'll be completing this assignment for the wooden blocks, and then you'll also be going back to your design and protective case, and you're going to create a similar document based on that design and drawing. So if we need to do some additions, you're going to have those two parts that you're going to be able to pull in. So you're going to assemble those together because you would have worked with a partner, had two parts. You're going to pull into the same drawing. You're going to apply the joints. You're going to apply the limits, and then you're going to create a document similar to this for that particular design. So if you have any questions, let me know.